Okay, awesome. Let's jump into it. Um, just quick introduction. My name is Musab Mohammed. I am a sales engineer here at NetBrain, and I'm just going to run us through today's topic, which is life cycle assessment. So basically, just when you have devices that are end of life, end of warranty, uh, doing that manually can be a pain and a half. And so we want to help you do that using our automations. So I'm just going to start us off with a quick introduction of NetBrain in case anyone hasn't really been familiar with what we do, how we do it. So our basic premise is that our foundation, sorry, is visibility, right? So we build upon a digital twin of your network, and what we're starting now is a no-code automation platform concept where everything that you have within your digital twin is now accessible through NetBrain, and you can run automations on it, right? And all of that is no code, right? So this isn't like Ansible, or you don't need to be learning Python and a lot of scripting. It's everything is just drop down menus, no code, very easy, right? And this is exceptionally useful because you can run all of these automations to help you in a lot of different very complicated problems that occur in a network, right? Outage prevention, right? Diagnosis automation, application performance, right? Identifying exactly where within your network an application might be running into problems, right? Network security and protective change, right? And so each one of these, we use automations in a different way to help alleviate a whole lot of issues that regular engineers doing work manually, it would take considerable time. Automation helps ease a lot of that pain, right? And so we have three workflows that kind of cover a lot of this. First is troubleshooting, right? And so that's taking our automations to diagnose any if any troubleshooting ticket that comes in, right? And part of that is integration with your backend to auto diagnose, right? So that's exceptionally powerful. So before a human gets on it, we're already in your environment, already running checks, right? Assessment, which is today's topic, falls under this. So just assessing continuously your network to ensure that you're up to standards. For our case today, life cycle, right? Like your devices aren't end of life, they aren't going to become an issue anytime soon, right? So you want to be aware of that before it becomes an issue. And so that's our assessment. We're just network wide, continuously monitoring to ensure there are no issues that uh, crop up. And finally, change. So for any and every change that you're creating, we want to discover the impact, want to auto validate when you make a change, and you want to continuously protect that going into the future, right? And again, all of that is possible and powered through our automation. And so I'm just going to jump straight into life cycle assessment now. So this is kind of the basis of everything that we do now, right? This is dashboards. You take any of those automations that you've built out and you push it into a dashboard, right? And life cycle assessment, just a quick overview of how our dashboards look. You have a quick summary at the top, which just tells you the number of automations that we're running, right? So we call them intents. So we have 200 intents running, the number of devices that they're running on, right? And the number of alerts, right? So we make it very easy to visually understand what is going on in your network. So red is bad, that's an alert. You need to go in, investigate, figure out what's going on, and green is good, right? And so, for example, in this case, we have very few devices, right? And we're already running 200 checks. Having an engineer dedicated to doing that will have to spend hours every week, every month, whenever you want to do it. And NetBrain's giving you that ability to run that whenever you want, on how many ever devices you want continuously, right? And so if we look at the actual intents or the automations that we're running, right? So we have, for example, success officers suggestions, right? So that's, for example, if I have this device over here, it will tell me that the OS version should be upgraded, right? And now, once you jump into any of our automation results, right, everything is interactable. So I can jump in, I can see what's the devices, what the intent that's running on it. I can even throw this out onto a map, right? And so if I do that with any of my other devices here, what that allows me to do is just see what that device is, and you can work with that device, right? Those automations I was talking about, you can work with that device as soon as you have it out onto a map, right? And so, for example, here I have a bunch of issues. I can immediately go out and look at the profiles that I have available, right? And so, out of the box, NetBrain provides all of these automations ready for you to run. So you don't need to necessarily go in and make these automations yourself. We already have a decent foundation for you to start working, right? And so, for example, we have specific for ACI, Azure, AWS, right? But we want to, for example, just run just a couple quick assessments, right? And so I can then run CPU tests. I have my NetBrain automation library, right? Where I'm checking device health. I can do general troubleshooting, right? And what that allows me to do is that once I have a device on my map, I can now start digging considerably deeper into exactly what's going on with this device, right? And because it falls under our digital twin concept, all of these devices, you have everything that NetBrain knows about that device right in front of you, right? And so I don't necessarily need to know, jump onto the device to figure out management IP or the software version it's on. Everything is available in front of me, and I have the config file over here. If for any reason I want something very specific that the config file in my properties isn't able to tell me, I can even run CLI commands straight from NetBrain, right? So all of that is available for me. Next, let's say this device, I need to now swap it out, right? It's basically at end of life. I know I need to swap it out. I can figure out what other devices are actually connected to this device, right? And I can choose whichever devices are relevant to me and add them to the map and kind of start working from there to figure out if, for example, I need to swap out this device, what else will be impacted as a result, right? So it gives you a whole lot of power right at your fingertips. So now, just jumping right back into this, once I have all of my reds and greens, I am able to jump in and, like I said, you can dig a little deeper, but you can actually look at the intent to see exactly what's being run, right? Like what the diagnosis is. You can see what other devices are actually giving you issues as well, right? So if I look at the 104 that are happening, right, I can see, for example, that view by device and see what other devices are actually giving me this issue past just the one device that I'm working on. So that's exceptionally powerful. And then what's powering all of this, right? So this is really neat, really cool. But I want to know, where exactly am I finding all of these devices? Where am I finding all of these automations? And that in the back end, we have our inputs, right? So you have intent dashboards, which is each one of these, right, is its own dashboard that I'm summarizing in this final summary dashboard, right? So for example, if I look at end of sales, right, that's in and of itself just a one automation that's running over time, right? And so this is just a bit of the background of how these automation dashboards look once you're not just summarizing them. It's not just green and red. It's a little bit more of, okay, device by device, the number of alerts, you have all of that up here. And then you can see, for example, exactly what the input for this dashboard is. And that's what we call our data automation tables, right? And so, for example, for this one, it's just everything Cisco related. We have it input as one data table that just shows us all of the devices and all of the lifecycle assessment automations that I'm running for this one device, right? And so once you have any of this set up, you can run these whenever you want, right? You can run these on a timer. So if, for example, I want to be a little bit more proactive, right? I don't just want it monthly, I want it weekly, right? I can even go ahead and add my own timer that lets me be a lot more granular with how exactly and when exactly I want to run these automations, right? And so I have all of this in front of me. I have all of this control. Once I've set that up, I push it out and basically it jumps back into this dashboard, sorry, right here, right? And I'm able to input this data, share this dashboard, for example, and for example, we work on seat licenses, right? You don't need a license to share this dashboard and make it available to clients and customers to have them understand how their network is looking, right? So you share a read-only dashboard. Anyone can jump in and get a good understanding of how their network is looking. And we've added a little bit more like an original piece to this, where we have a map that actually shows you where and how your devices are when you're talking about a specific assessment or when you're talking about a specific dashboard, right? And so it's just a nice little thing that lets you see exactly how your devices are. You can click into it, you can see how where your devices are giving you issues, right? For example, um, end of sales, it'll tell me exactly which device. You have that extra kind of visibility into your network and into how your network is looking. So now, if there is any questions, we have a poll up, so it would be nice if you guys have something, for example, that you find to be most tedious, right? You can just engage with that. Any questions are welcome. So if there aren't any questions, anything anyone is curious about, I think we'll end it for today. Thank you very much for your time and attending. Appreciate that very much. Thank you. And yeah, have a great rest of the week and a great weekend coming up. Ooh, I see a question from Arun. Apologies, I might have ended that a bit quick. Um, so if you're asking about connection between NetBrain and the Cisco backend, so we work with SNTC, and so NetBrain has its own APIs, and basically use that to connect and pull all of the information that is required for any of these assessments, right? Because especially what you see in front of you is specifically Cisco. Cisco is one of our most integrated vendors. You are able to use SNTC to kind of just pull all of that information and use that for your devices. We do integrate with other devices as well, right? Like Fortinet, Juniper, but those will be because they're just again, uh, a- so Cisco is tier three, right? Where we kind of work the best with them. A lot of other devices are at tier three, sorry, vendors, but we are vendor agnostic. Anything else can be used for life cycle assessments. It just will take a little bit extra work. We have engineers and automation experts that will help you work through that, which is exceptionally helpful. And I've seen them do some amazing things. So yeah, awesome. Thank you, Arun. If that's it, I yeah. So it seems that you're the only one left. Thank you again for your time. Yeah, have a great day. Take care.